So, hi Marta, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
We're doing great here. I'm here with Marta, the Sustainable Manager at Alliance Wine. I'm going to ask you about what are the most important challenges that you find that should be resolved most urgently, in a way, at Alliance Wine.
So thanks for the question. So as I mentioned to you before, for me, the most important challenge when I started at Alliance Wine was this cultural change that you need to make when we start any sustainability strategy. So in order to understand better the general idea that employees have at Alliance in terms of what sustainability means, I had to carry out an internal assessment of the company. And that was inspiring and challenging at the same time, because I realized that for most of them, sustainability was only related to the environment. For other people, was related to social issues, and no one took into consideration the economic input. In the environment, for me, one of the most important challenges that we have is the quality of the soil. As you might know, this is mainly related to the organic matter, and this gives plenty of benefits to the vineyards. And one of the best benefits, I will say, is the carbon sequestration that is possible through this organic matter. And we need to regenerate this organic matter in order to increase the quality of the soils. And this quality of the soil is highly related to what we know in the wine industry as the terroir, which is what makes special its vineyard, no, in different wine regions. Drought, obviously, is a problem. The increase of average temperatures, which is becoming more and more significant over time. Vineyards are highly influenced by temperatures, and they need this heat, temperatures in order to get the fruits. And the problem that we have now is that seasons as harvests are bringing forward just because this increase in temperatures over time, and this is affecting the quality of the grapes and also the quality of the final wines. Social challenges, I will say that because the wine industry is highly traditional, we obviously have gender inequality problems. We have growers, small growers and wineries that struggle to survive due to this consolidation system that we have in countries such as the US. Yeah, in terms of economic issues, we have this problem now that everyone is against alcohol. So this has an effect on the consumer side. And again, we have new legislations coming, we have taxes, we have supply chain disruptions. So I think that we are in a moment in which everything is a big mess in terms of factors that can affect the economic status of the industry.
So you see that this no-low trend is really having an impact already in wine consumption.
The low alcohol trend, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, to be honest, I think that this is an opportunity for us in order to find a way to make good quality, low alcohol wines. I think that in the past, everyone has this idea in mind that, or this relation, in mind that low quality wines are related to bad quality wines, and low alcohol wine.
Low alcohol.
And I think that there is a window there that we should open. We can make it work together. I mean, that we can keep on having the wines that we have been making for our whole life, but at the same time, we can offer this option to consumers that are maybe more conscious in terms of alcohol intake. And I think that we shouldn't be scared. We should see it as an opportunity, definitely.
Yeah, I agree. I think we can find the right measure, right? Marta, can you tell us about a successful steps that you've been taking at Alliance Wines that could be replicated in other companies?
Yeah, I mentioned to you before as well that we are trying to use circular economy as a leverage tool in order to implement sustainability initiatives in our company. We have created what we call a system of indicators, because I don't know if you are familiar with it. I'm sure you are with the concept, but circular economy is quite difficult to quantify. And even though it's based on common sense, which makes really easy to explain to people, because things such as recycling, I mean, recycling should be the last step, but maybe reusing. We reuse glasses in order to drink at home, but we don't think about doing that in the winery. So this common sense makes really easy to explain. So we decided to start with that. And we create this system of indicators. And this is a system that helps us to create a methodology. And we are implementing this methodology with some wineries based in Spain, because it's mainly based on legislation, in environmental legislation in Spain. And I have many wineries, they have started to, for example, think about eco-design standards for packaging. Mm-hmm. So let's talk, for example, I can give an example, corks. They didn't have a clue about how to reuse corks. Amorim has a system in which they collect the corks and they reuse in order to produce secondary products. And now they are aware of this kind of systems. And I think that this methodology is helping them to use the common sense, something that they haven't used in the past. And they started to implement in their production activities, but also in economic and social activities as well. So even though it was a bit difficult to create the system, I think that the implementation in wineries is easy, because at the same time, wineries are scared of technology sometimes. And when you use things that you can explain, as I say, using common sense, they feel more familiar with the concept, I will say, and they feel more comfortable.
I love that you said that it's easy to implement. We all know the difficulties, and we all know there are many challenges, lack of cultural change, education, and a lot more, as you said. So it's great that we find some easy steps to take into consideration. We feel that brands with purpose either focus on environmental issues or social issues or commitment to a cause will be growing in the near future. This is a trend in the market. So what is your vision regarding this?
Well, my vision is quite robust on that topic. I think that giving companies a purpose and brands and business models a purpose is essential, not only because what the consumer will feel about the brand. When it comes to employees, think about an employee that is going to her position in a company, and they are dealing with activities on a daily basis, I will say, but they don't have objectives, they don't have a direction, they don't have an idea why they are doing what they are doing. So when you give these people a purpose, you encourage them to go for that objective, to give them some direction, and you retain talent, you increase productivity. People are happier at work. It seems stupid to say that, because you feel that people are always happy at work, and it's not like that anymore. I mean, that I have seen many people feeling miserable at work because they feel that they don't have their job is not according to their values, personal values. So when a company manages to create a purpose that is according to the values of their employees and the values of the consumers, I think is when we manage to put together all this important purpose for everyone that keeps people working and keeps people making things happen and keeps people buying and keeps people believing that there is a way to change, no?
Yes, motivation is key. Is key for staying. And I have to say, I am one of the lucky people that is happy at work. But I know it's not the case for everyone. So it's great that you mentioned that. How do you think we can contribute? We as a community can contribute, or as a company, in the case of Alliance Wine, can make contributions or find synergies in the industry to foster positive impact business and brands with purpose?
Well, I think that synergies are really important. We try to focus, especially in the wine industry, because we have this traditional status, and we feel that we work inside a bubble, but it's not like that. We have interactions with other sectors. We interact with transport companies. We interact with glass suppliers. We interact with core suppliers. We interact with printers. So I think that it is important to start to understand that our actions as wine companies will have an effect on other sectors, and in the other way around. what is going on in the glass industry will have an impact on the wine industry and on the operational side of my winery. So I think that it's really important to start to look for cooperations with companies that are outside our sector, outside the wine industry, to understand the problems that they have and share the problems that we have and try to find a common solution. Because most of the times we, as I say, we try to find solutions to common problems, but isolate without taking into consideration the effect of our actions into other sectors. And we need to start to change the chip, no? We need to start to think that, okay, collaboration is essential nowadays because we cannot achieve what we are trying to achieve alone. And we need to start to think out of the box. Okay, we can collaborate with wineries. We need to do that, but we need to start to look for other sectors that have a highly impact on our operational side.
So yes, the connection in the value chain, I would say, and even outside. I was just reading about the influence on the increase in the price of gas and electricity. That has a direct impact on the glass industry, which has an impact on wine production. So
and it's funny because in the wine industry we think that we are isolated, but if you look at breweries, I have seen breweries that they have big contracts with glass suppliers and they work as partners. Because the amount of glass that they need in order to fill their operations is big, and it's not like the wine industry because they produce beer like every single month if they want. I mean, it's not like us. We only produce once per month. So why do we feel that we cannot achieve the same kind of collaboration? Because we definitely need the glass suppliers in order to sell our bottles of wine. We need to change, as I say, that kind of mentality. We need to
yes, as you said, it's a cultural change that we need to achieve.
Yeah,
Marta, it's been absolutely lovely to talk to you. I hope we have more opportunities to keep on discussing and learning from what you're doing at Alliance Wine. So thank you very much for taking the time today to be with us.
My pleasure. Thank you.